just take a break, just take a break. No, you can't take a break when you're a creator. Hello everybody, my name is Aline. I go by Dear Aline on social media. You know what happens when you take a break? The algorithm you, okay? Raise your hand if you've already burnt out as a creator. Great, we have a club, okay. My goal was 1 million 1 year. I did it. I hit 1 million followers in 1 year, and I felt on top of the world. I was like, oh my God, I figured out life. I'm making a difference. I'm talking about women's issues. I have the solution to the universe. And then I didn't have the answer anymore. And this is what was happening to me for 2 years. I was suffering. People told me to take a break. It's not always the grind era forever. And someone needs to tell you this. What can everybody here do differently as they're growing to prevent the suffering and to prolong the success? Hello everybody, my name is Aline. I go by Dear Aline on social media. And today I'm going to talk to you about something that all of us will experience or have experienced, which is creator burnout. Raise your hand if you've already burnt out as a creator. Great, we have a club, okay. Raise your hand if you have not burned out yet. Amazing, I'm gonna show you what you have to look forward to, all right? So, as a creator, something that we're always thinking about is relevance, right? Having fresh ideas, and obviously money, because we need to pay our bills, we need to survive. And when you have creator burnout, usually all of these three things feel compromised, okay? And so what I mean by creator expiration date is two things. I'm actually talking about two things today. Creator burnout, which is when you get tired and you feel like you can't keep going, right? And also creator expiration date. When is your content, even if you have motivation, gonna start to become irrelevant? When is the next group of young people or old people or new people gonna come and replace you, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go through my story and my expiration date and how you can avoid hopefully yours or at least delay yours. So since I was a small child, this is me, I wanted to create content. I'm from Los Angeles, so I grew up around Hollywood and TV and movie stars, and I was like, oh my God, I wanna do all of this stuff, but I never felt like I could. I always saw like really tall, blonde, beautiful women on TV, and I was not that, okay? I had like a little troll doll, all right? And I always saw men in charge. I did film in high school, I studied everything, but I could never really find a way into the traditional film industry. And back when I was a kid, content creation didn't even exist, right? MySpace existed when I was about to graduate high school. So I majored in film in high school. I started a video company that I'm going to talk about later. I started traveling the world because travel and content, essentially media, were my two passions. And I was always learning. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I was always trying to improve and become better. I didn't even start making content until I was 28, all right? So if anybody is 28 or younger, you should feel good because you're ahead of me, all right? So I used to be married. I was raised Mormon. If you've been to the conference before, you know this. I was raised super religious. I went to Brigham Young University, which is a Mormon university, like no coffee, no alcohol, no nothing, okay? This is not allowed. I would get kicked out of school for this because it's inappropriate, all right? I was married to another Mormon. We built a company together, and our company did super viral videos. We got hundreds of thousands of dollars per video. Per video. We were paid by Sony, by Pizza Hut, this was a collaboration we did for Freshpet. And I enjoyed this. We would get, this one was 15 million views on YouTube, and 8 years ago, 15 million views is different than 15 million views now, right? So we were really doing well, but I was always behind the camera, right? I was never in front of the camera. There was a whole team, there was a whole company supporting. So burnout didn't really happen. 3 years later, we'd been building the company, we ended up getting divorced, and we weren't together anymore, so we sold the company to our partners, right? So now I'm back to ground zero. I'm a 26-year-old, 25-year-old divorced girl who just left her religion and didn't know what the hell was happening with my life, all right? So I started traveling. I went to this villa in Albania and lived by myself for a month. I decided to find myself, and I did, right? I realized who I was. I started to change and evolve as a person. But I didn't have a career yet. My career had been gone. My company was gone, and I had maybe an identity of who I was as a person, but not as a creator. Then I met him. Hi. Look, we were just little babies. just a baby. So I met this guy, and he had just started making videos. He had like 12,000 followers or something, and I had like 5,000 followers, and we started traveling together. We both love video, we both love travel. He was making a video every day, and I was traveling. It was, a match made in heaven or hell, only time will tell. So at first I was helping him with his videos, and then I was trying to control all of his narratives. And he was like, please make your own dang videos and stop telling me what to do all the time. That's how Dear Lean started. So I started making my own videos. This is one of my first videos. You can see the whole thing is tilted. The products I'm showing are not in frame. I'm filming with my laptop, and it was on a pile of books, because I would travel with books, and it was falling over, all right? But I was excited to talk about life, and I wanted to make a difference. I was honestly just motivated to make a difference in the world. And I was a one-stop shop. I was ideating, I was scripting, I was filming, I was editing. Just like probably 80-90% of you, I was doing everything on my own. There was no team, there was no outsourcing. Every single step was mine. And this was all happening during the 1,000 daily videos for Nas Daily, right? So Monday video, Tuesday video, Wednesday video for Nas Daily, and then somewhere in that week I had to find time to make a 2 to 3 minute video for Dear Lean. Okay, but it worked. I had a goal. I was driven. I was like, man, I've been preparing my whole life for this moment. I'm 28. I need to do something with my life that I'm proud of, okay? I need to dedicate myself to something for 1 year that is mine. So I said, for 1 year, I'm going to create 1 video a week, and my goal is to hit 1 million followers in 1 year. And I had that goal, and I truly felt, you know the word embodied? I felt embodied. I felt like I can do it. I felt sure of it. But that's because of all the years of preparation, right? So I did it. I hit 1 million followers in 1 year, and everything I was doing was working, right? I was averaging, not even averaging, my minimum video was 5 million views, right? 5 million was the basic. If it went under 5 million, I was like, what's going on today, right? What are these low view counts? And I felt on top of the world. I was like, oh my God, I figured out life. I'm making a difference. I'm talking about women's issues. I'm sharing. I have the solution to the universe, right? And then I didn't have the answer anymore. And then the problems started happening, right? The views started dropping. I lost momentum. I stopped feeling creative. I was like, I don't know that I have any more topics I care about. How much can I possibly care about here on planet Earth? I'm so tired. I was burnt out about talking about social issues, and I wasn't motivated. And I started really suffering. I was suffering, okay? People told me to take a break, right? Has anyone told you, just take a break? Just take a break. No, you can't take a break when you're a creator. You know what happens when you take a break? You lose everything. The algorithm, am I allowed to curse? The algorithm fucks you, okay? You're trapped in the cycle of creator hell. You're like, oh my God, I want to take a break, but if I don't upload, then fucking YouTube is going to kill me. And then if I upload and I'm consistent, I'm so tired, so my video is going to be trash. So my audience is going to be like, your content is trash. And so you're just in this hell cycle. You're in this hell cycle, and you're like, do I take a break? You slowly start dying, and you're falling. And this is what was happening to me for 2 years. And I looked like this picture, the one before, wherever it is. Wherever I looked bad, that's how I looked, okay? Oh, here it is. I was so stressed. I was sitting in Singapore like, what have I done? What is life? Oh my God. All right, this is what burnout looks like. It's really lovely, so stunning, okay? Now I'm going to tell you how hopefully you can avoid it, again, or delay it. And I'm going to give you a few case studies, because I love case studies. I like to hear about real people. This is my friend, Janet, all right? Does anybody know Janet? Any people? Yeah, okay. So Janet actually began as a journalist. Her username was Journalist on the Run. So she was a journalist, and then she decided she wanted to be a creator. So she accidentally became one. She sent not accidentally, she kind of tried. She sent a GoPro on a balloon, and the GoPro on the balloon got lost. And it fell into a field in Ireland, because she's from Ireland. And then someone found the GoPro, and then tracked her with the footage, and then she made a whole thing about it, and then GoPro sponsored her. And guess how many followers she had? 700. And she was sponsored by GoPro, right? So Janet is a great example to me of someone who's always pivoting. So she started as a journalist. Then she decided she wanted to be a blogger, which is different, right? Because a journalist, you work for a company, a blogger, you work for yourself, right? Now blogging is irrelevant. Does anybody here make their full-time living from blogging? No, literally no one. Blogging is dead. But 10 years ago, if you're a creator, I wanted to be a blogger. I didn't even know what an Instagrammer was, right? So then she pivoted. She went from blogging, she decided to be a YouTuber. Look, she had 100,000 subscribers in like a year on YouTube. This is like a random Irish woman, okay? She managed to pivot and pivot and pivot. Janet is such a great example of pivoting, because when you feel stuck, when you feel like I felt like I had to do the same thing. I said the way I succeeded was a 2 to 3 minute video every week for a year on XYZ platform. That's what I have to do forever until I'm dead in the grave. But Janet is showing us that you don't have to do that. She switched, she became a YouTuber. Then she started running group trips. Then she's going to do whatever she wants. You can restart again and again, and you can succeed again and again, right? At any age. She's my age or something. I don't know how old she is, right? So I messaged Janet. I was like, Janet, what can I tell everyone? You're literally a great example of how to do this. And she said things that kind of sound basic, but that we literally don't do. When I was doing my grinding 2 or 3 years, I never shut off for 48 hours. Has anybody here shut off completely from the internet for 48 hours in the last year? These are the smart people. Go be their friends, okay? Play sports. I let my health go completely when I was building Dear Lean. I never worked out. I used to work out every day before. I never worked out because I was like, why should I work out? I'm going to be sacrificing my video edit time. I'm going to be sacrificing my ideating time. But if I had made space for these things, I think I would have been able to prolong my journey, all right? Another example, who's here? You can wave. Hola! From the misias pero viajeras, okay? So these girls, there's actually 2, I'll show you in the next slide. These girls came to me and Nasir's meetup in Peru 5 years ago. And we had a meetup, and there was like this many people in a random park in Peru, and they stood in line to take selfies with us, and they took a selfie and said goodbye. I didn't think anything of it, right? Then, 3 years later, they grew to 4 million followers. And they are now Latin America's biggest travel bloggers, okay? So the journey to success can be quick, but now they're both burnt out. And they're suffering, okay? They're in the suffering burnout phase, and I asked them, what could you have done differently? What can everybody here do differently as they're growing to prevent the suffering and to prolong the success? And she said, specifically, I said, could you have taken breaks and still hit your level of success? And she said, 100% yes. I think a lot of times we feel like these breaks are gonna be what stop us, and the truth is these tiny breaks are going to keep you going. And someone needs to tell you this, because all you hear all day, every day is grind, 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 no matter what, right? Okay? So try to take your health seriously, because most of you are kind of young, and you feel like you're gonna live forever, and you're not, okay? And this is life, and life is happening now, and you need to live it while you're learning to create the content. I was burned out only after 1 year. Everyone else lasted much longer than I did. But that's because I think I had that crazy goal of 1 million. And something Alex was saying earlier, Alex from Nas.io, is that sometimes when you hit your goal, then you burn out, right? Because you worked so hard to hit that goal, and then you're tired, and you can't keep going. So having a new goal is a good idea as well. But what I want to actually talk about is not having new goals or bigger goals or doing more. I want to talk about realizing that sometimes less can be more. I realized I was making more money, and money is not the only metric of life, but it's important. I was making more money when I was hitting 300K views than when I was hitting 5 million views. And this is something I didn't realize. I just assumed more views, more money, right? But that is not the case, because the content I was making was more aligned with a specific audience. So this is a really key takeaway for you guys. You don't need more views. Bigger numbers is not necessarily better. Would you rather have 5 presidents watch your video or 5,000 random high schoolers? Maybe you prefer the high schoolers. I prefer the presidents, right? Okay, so keeping this in mind, I want everybody to understand that life has different seasons. And your career will have different seasons. It's not always the grind era forever. Should you have a grind era? Sure. Have a year of grinding. Have 2 years of grinding. But you shouldn't be grinding for 10 years. Even Nasir, even Nas Daily, gets his 8 hours of sleep every night. That's a form of rest, is not just pushing yourself just to push yourself. There's a reason he can last so long, right? He has a deep intrinsic motivation, but also he gets enough sleep, right? So I'm going to talk about my seasons, and I want you to think about what have your seasons been and what will your seasons be. So I had a season where I was only focused on social issues and I was not making any money. In that first year of Facebook where I grew to 1 million followers, I did not have ad revenue turned on. I wasn't doing it for money. I only wanted impact. I made impact. But then the problem with impact that I didn't realize is I became the face of social justice on Facebook. Everyone that had a problem, Aline, this horrible thing happened to me. Aline, my country went through a flood. Aline, my country had an earthquake. Fix it, fix it, fix it. And I felt like literally crushed by thousands of messages a day about the world's issues. And I realized this is not sustainable for me. It's not good for my mental health. So then I shifted to doing content about travel. I had to shift. Right? Sometimes you need to shift and pivot what you're working on. And some of my audience was mad. They're like, Aline, you're just making useless content now. You don't do things that are important anymore. What's wrong with you? And you cannot listen to the outside voices. You need to listen here. I could have kept doing that stuff and I would have hated my life. I would have hated my life. Then I started feeling lonely, so I started doing retreats and group trips. These are not the most financially smart thing to do. You can't really scale a group trip, right? I can't take 500 of you on a trip with me. But this was amazing for my mental health. And finally, I started to feel happy, which is kind of the point of existing, right? Sometimes we forget, but that's the point, guys. That's why we're here on planet Earth, all right? To have moments of happiness and joy and connection. And I met amazing new friends, which to me was something I was missing because I was always working. Then I decided to create courses because I knew the end of Dear Lean was coming. I felt it happening. So I was like, let me pass this knowledge to the next generation. So I did 1 year only of courses. These are all different seasons, right? I'm switching stuff. I'm doing new things. You don't have to do the same thing forever. Prepare for your future beyond content, right? If you make money as a creator, you should be saving, in my opinion, at least half of it to invest in something outside of content creation. If you're not making money as a creator yet, you should be learning skills that are complementary to your content creation journey that can make you an income later. All right? So what are complementary skills? Here's some examples you can read. I'm not going to read them all to you. Of different creators and the skills that they developed, right? You can build an in-person experience. You can build a tech company. You can build physical products. You can build a community. You can do so many different things, and each of you here has a different skill set, right? You're good at AI. You're good at like tech companies. You're good at like sewing or something. I don't know what you guys are good at. But think about the skills you have and develop them along with being a creator, because you really need to think big picture. Remember day one, Baiju was talking about how he thinks in 20 years? I don't think most of us think in 20 years. I know I was not thinking in 20 years, I was thinking in 1 year. My goal was 1 million 1 year. I didn't think beyond that. So think beyond that. You're gonna live, if you're lucky, 10 to 70 more years, depending on your age, and you wanna be thinking what you wanna do in those years. All of these things are things that I do as well, right? I do the stock market, I invest in real estate, I invest in brand, I get brand deals, right? So think of ways you can make money and prepare for your future outside of content. And the final takeaway I would love for you to have is that each of you is different, right? Each of you is different. You're gonna see so many creators on stage. You're gonna see me, you're gonna see all these other people, and you're gonna think, okay, I need to do it like them. And the truth is, there's tiny things that you will do that are similar to us, but each of you has so much potential, and you're so talented, and you all came here for a reason, which is you wanna grow, and you wanna succeed, and the truth is, I know each and every one of you can, but make sure you're doing it your way, and you're not trying to do it like someone else. Thank you.
Subscribe for more sessions of NAS Summit from around the world.